Hey everyone, Keenan Gray here from DyeStat.com, bringing you an exciting edition of DyeStat discussions. Championship season is in full swing, and of course, the road to Portland begins this Sunday in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And that NXR Heartland region is going to be a very good one. It'll feature some of the best athletes, not just in the Heartland region, but in the entire country. And one of them joins us right here on DyeStat discussions, Mr. Robert Mechura out of Roseville area in Minnesota. Robert, I, I look at this Heartland region and I'm thinking, and we talked about this, you and I, at the Roy Griak Invitational, like it's going to be a fun one, just like it was last year. Like, what's the excitement to go back to Sioux Falls and get after again on that course?
Yeah, I think it's really exciting. Last year was like a great race. I didn't know really what to expect going in, but I think it was really cool to know that last year at the end of when I saw the results, the top three were all juniors. I just knew that it was going to be really exciting next year when we were all seniors, we're all better, and we'll have a chance to qualify again and then, represent Heartland even better than we did before. So I think it's going to be really
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. Well, before we even kind of talk about, Sunday and just the excitement, I mean, you had an undefeated campaign in your senior season. Look at last year, you had that one loss, which was at Roy Griak, but you redeemed yourself this year and got that win. And then, of course, finish it off the regular season, I should say, with another state championship. Looking back at all these races, like, how would you describe really how this year has gone so far to this point?
Yeah, overall, I think I would say it's gone relatively smoothly. Like there's always some little things that pop up, but best case scenario is that up until this point, I've won every meet, I would say, and um, so I guess that's the best case, and the fact that I'm not injured, obviously, the fact that I'm still able to compete and feeling good, having learned stuff last year, going into these next 6 weeks where I got regionals and national meets and stuff like that. So overall, I would just say, it's been great, and I'm hoping to continue that feeling through the end of the season.
How fun has this season been for you?
It's been really fun, especially for like my team. So last year, um, we did not qualify for the state meet, but before that, we qualified 3 years in a row. So my eighth, ninth, and 10th grade years, and it was pretty tough last year to not make it. And then this year, we had some good additions, just kind of luck that just turned out were great athletes for us and worked really hard. And so then we ended up making it to state as a team. And so the fact that in my senior year I was able to go to state with them, and then we also placed eighth, which for our standards is really good. So that has definitely made the season a lot more fun. Just that getting towards the end of the season, it feels a lot less lonely, and that I had so many people there to warm up with and stuff like that before the meet and stuff.
Did it mean more the fact that it was your senior season that you had six other guys with you on the start line one last time in a Roseville uniform?
Yeah, and I think especially the fact that we struggled last year, like we did not make it, and just the reality is we shouldn't have made it. Like we were not ready to be at the state meet last year, and so to have that success, and I mean honestly, in seventh grade I was scoring for my team, and we didn't make it then either. So then to get better, have some success, be reminded that it's challenging to do it, and then to be able to do it the next year was really fun for our team.
So you talked about, the addition of a couple of guys this year, but like, what was really kind of the turning point for you guys to realize, yeah, like this is going to be a better year for us, and we can see ourselves racing at in Falcon Heights at the end of the year?
Yeah, I think really we knew last year that we were going to be better this year. We had um, just a lot of young guys. Like last year, we really did not graduate many guys, and we just had a young team. And it's hard to be a really top team in the state when you have such young guys. And so we knew we were going to be better. And honestly, after I leave, our team is probably going to be even better than we were because we're just still a really young team. So just I would say what really made the difference is just guys getting older and maturing and running more, staying healthy, is what did it.
When did you guys kind of realize that maybe it was towards the beginning of the year, maybe it was at the Roy Griak Invitational, where did you guys see that potential was going to be pretty good?
I think I mean honestly, it changed over the course of the season, but starting all the way in the summer, like every day I would show up to captain's practice, and to see guys that didn't even like exist on our team a year ago, they were showing up every day and doing great in workouts. Like I could tell they were going to be some scoring members for us. And then we also had someone from that was in a city nearby, like in St. Paul, and then they ended up moving schools, and they were a good runner for that school, and then they're getting older and whatever. So we found out at the beginning of the season that they were going to be joining our team as well. So it was kind of just a combination of factors, and over time we just got better and better. And even at like you know um, the section meet, like we had guys step up and perform better than they had all year. So every meet was really learning something new, and someone was doing something great.
Through race day at the state championships, getting up in the morning, just realizing, all right, this is the last time I'm putting an R on my on a jersey on that says Roseville on it. Like, I mean, like, what were the emotions like for you going into that state championship race on Saturday?
I guess I haven't really thought about it like that. It's hard to like when I'm in the middle of my season and I know I still have like 6 weeks left. It's hard to like create this like stopping point in my head of okay, this is the last race for Roseville. So I guess I haven't really thought about it too much. But I'm either way, I'm just really glad that like our team was able to go together and we had this extra meet that we might not have had together, and that it ended on like a good result. Um,
Mhm.
so I guess I'm not really sure, honestly. I haven't thought about that too much.
Well, then I'll ask you that same question in a different way. How did you feel just the morning of getting up and preparing for a race like that, especially when you're racing up against a guy like Sean Freeze, who gave you a pretty good run for your money at Roy Griak?
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point in the season, it's just staying patient and knowing that I still have more weeks left, just doing the best that I can with the training that I have, and trying to stay confident in my own abilities. Because I was asked some questions like after the meet by some interviewers about like, did the fact that were you won last year, does that put like pressure on you to win again? And so that was definitely something I had to think about a little bit, like the day of the meet, and just staying confident in myself and not letting that get to me.
But I think that's one thing about yourself, and I saw that last year when we chatted, I think at NXN's, like you have that confidence in yourself that you can go out there and do your thing, and you've proven to do that. Has that always been something that's you've always like taken pride in? It's just like just be confident in yourself and just let everything else take care of itself.
I think it is like a constant battle. Like it's really if I wanted to just let it happen, it would be like really easy for me to just lose that confidence. But it's something you always have to work on. I feel like, especially for myself, just um, yeah, I guess just like thinking about all like the work that I put in, and just I think the best way for me to look at it is not like I'm really confident in myself, therefore I have to, get first in this meet. It's just I'm going to put myself in the fight, and then at the end of the race, I'm just going to do whatever I can, and that just leads to me being confident in my abilities late in races.
I like how you put it that way. It's not necessarily about the wins. Yes, like we all want to win races, but it's really about like your effort, how you felt about your effort, and like if you were able to put everything out there. So I think really that's kind of a good way of thinking of it rather than just like, focusing on the wins, even though like that is a priority for a lot of caliber elite level runners like yourself. But tell me a little bit about this race. I mean, I know it seemed like it was a little similar to Roy Griak in the sense like you were very conservative from the start. You kind of let the crew just like go out there and do their thing, and then you patiently waited throughout the race and made your move within the last mile.
Are you talking about state?
Yes.
Um, yeah. So I mean, Casey Poplar from Mount Zoo went out, very fast. I didn't really see him until probably past 800 meters, and he was. I thought at the time maybe it was like a 10-second lead, but it turned out he had a 20-second lead early on in the race. So it was honestly a similar situation to the Griak meet because he was just someone we had to chase down. So I took second through the mile and just we started reeling him in. And then yeah, I guess it was just like a game of patience a little bit. I was a little more conservative, but um, then we eventually caught him, and then I kind of just let other people make some moves, and I just hung back until I wanted to make my move later in the race. So it played out a little bit similar to Griak, but it was definitely different in that it was like much closer at the end.
It was probably a lot cooler than it was at Griak because it was hot at Griak that race.
Yeah, yeah, it was for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like, battling a guy like Sean Freeze, like he's proven himself as a runner this year. Like he's a very, very good runner this year. Like what was it like battling back and forth with him all season long in Minnesota?
Yeah, I mean, I only raced him twice, Griak and State. We just don't, like clash that much, I guess, with our other meets. But it was really cool to see because, it reminded me of how I kind of had a little bit of a breakout season last year and how good that felt to start to get on like the national stage and competing with better runners. And I think that's exactly what he's doing.
So I'm curious to know, 15:03.7, that obviously lowered your time from what you ran last year. Was sub 15 on your mind within that last 200, 300 meters or so? Because I mean, that's a long stretch on that course over there.
hmm Yeah, I mean, I would say for the most part, it was not on my mind because the clocks were not on at like the mile split like markers. So I had really
Mhm.
no concept of like where I was at. And it was only on like the home stretch that I was starting to see the time. And it's really hard to gauge like, how far you are away, how many seconds you are away, and like when I was going to finish. So at one point, I could read like 14:51 or something, but I didn't know if like it was possible to break 15. But at the end of the day, like the goal for me this season is not to win state; it's to do things beyond state. And so um, my training has kind of varied a little bit, and so I wasn't necessarily like looking to improve on my time of 15:04. Um, it just kind of happened that I ended up running a faster time. But either way, I just wanted to do whatever it took to win.
And it was enough, obviously. You won by 3 seconds, and now it kind of builds you up now for, like I said, this big opportunity again on Sunday at the NXR Heartland region. I talked to Manny Putz at the beginning of the season, and I asked him how many times did he watch that final 200 meters or so. He told me he said he watched it 10 times over and over again. Be honest with me. How many times have you watched that finish?
I don't know if I could put a number on it, but I definitely watched it quite a few times because I put it in like my trailer for a YouTube video that I made and like the documentary that I made like a year ago. So I watched it a lot for the editing process of that, I would say. But maybe yeah, 5 to 10 times. Honestly, it's a very fun finish to watch because so many lead changes and whatnot.
Well, I mean, you've been in so many races in your high school career. Where does that one go on your list as far, regardless of like winning or losing, but like where does that finish go on your list of races you've been in?
I mean that's probably number one. Honestly, there's not many um races that I would say I'm like more proud of per se because like just the context going in of like my chances of winning and stuff like that. There's not a ton of races where I like wasn't projected to win and then I ended up winning. And
Mhm.
just the fact that it was so close at the end, it was like a decimal and it happened right before the line. So yeah, I mean that's probably number one.
Yeah, and no, and like you said, you kind of like were under the radar. Clay Shiva was probably arguably the favorite going
Yeah.
in, just based on what his resume he had throughout his entire career when he was racing in the state of Kansas, and obviously you were able to make a huge statement. What do you remember most about that race? Whether, other than that finish, but like I talking with Manny, like that race went out in 4:30 that first mile.
Well, yeah, I mean, Manny went out in 4:30. I was a little bit farther back. Manny likes to go out really fast. I think I was like 4:37 through the mile, so still, really fast. And I think I was in 12th. And yeah, I remember lining up on the start line, knowing that I wanted to go to NXN. It's something I had thought about since I was in like seventh grade. Going to NXN, and I knew that I had a real shot to be in the top five. And I also remember kind of just doubting like myself a little bit whether I could like win the meet or not because I knew that at the time in my mind I didn't know what was going on behind the scenes with maybe Clay had a little injury that he was dealing with, but I thought at the time that he was not beatable to me at least, and I think I just remember having that somewhat negative thought before the race, and then obviously it played out different, and I was happy with how I like moved up. And I think I just remember that how that taught me to like not you don't really know what's going on, and so don't put limits on yourself for what you can and can't do.
Well, it seems like there's a pattern with you, starting out conservatively and then making your way throughout the race. You were 12th at that first mile. Now I know, like you said, you were quite a few seconds back at your state championship race, but has that always been a tactic of yours? Just like let the field go out there and do its thing, and then I'll feel things out, but I still want to be within somewhat of a distance of those leaders.
Yeah, I mean, I would say as I've gotten better, that's become a little bit more common of a thing for me to do. I think it's worked out really well for stuff like that. But that's not something I like a strategy that I want to be like tied to. I want to be able to be versatile and like doing different things and still able to compete at the end of races. Um, so it has suited me well, like at state and last year at state and just a lot of different races. But I think at NXR this Sunday, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out because I don't anticipate that that's necessarily going to be my strategy.
Because you're the guy now with the target. Like you kind of said when you won the Minnesota State, you are the guy now that everyone's trying to chase down. But I also look back at that race last year and a guy that, kind of in your shoes, like blossom, if that's the right word, was Juan Gonzalez.
Yeah,
Juan just had himself a really good race at the Nebraska State Championships. Like I think he was a place ahead of you at Heartland for majority of that race, and you guys were like going back and forth or whatever. We're like, was that what did you learn about him as an athlete? Because we kind of had an idea like who Manny was, but we didn't really know who Juan Gonzalez was.
yeah. I mean, going into that race, I had never heard of him. Like I had absolutely no idea. And in the later stages of that race, I was moving up with Clay Shively at that point to like kind of connect with Sam and Manny to get to the front. But Juan was like right there, and he was kind of like pushing both of us, and we were like all working together to like close that gap. Um, and so in that moment, I kind of just accepted that okay, he's whoever this is. I didn't know who he was at the time. He's a legit competitor, and since that moment, I knew that he was going to be around for a while. When he ran, 14:33 there, and then he got like 10th at Foot Locker, and he's been around ever since, running great time. So I think that's really cool that that was like a meet where he kind of broke out and is really on the national stage since then.
I mean, it's kind of like for both you guys, that was your breakout race, and I know I probably like NXN, you probably wanted to finish a little bit higher, but at the same time, like that got the attention. Like people started paying attention now, that rightfully so. So now that people looking forward to this year, now it's like okay, now the Heartland region is one really looking forward to. Like this is a race that everyone's going to be really excited to watch on Sunday. Like what does that do for you for going to that race knowing that the entire country is going to be paying attention to yourself, Manny Putz, and Juan Gonzalez in part two of what will be of this race again after last year?
Yeah, I think overall it's really exciting, and I hope that none of us, like fold under the pressure, and we can just take it and use it to work together and run some really good times and show the rest of the country that Heartland is going to be a really really tough region to beat when it comes time for the national meet.
Yeah, for sure. And a lot of those guys are expected to make that Nike Cross Nationals team again. What do you remember from last year racing at NXM with those guys? And just, I mean, I'm sure you've gotten to know them within this last year just because you guys were all there together at NXN.
Mm-hmm. Wait, sorry, what was the question?
Which is like what have you gotten to know about each other? Like you guys were all together with one another at NXN.
Yeah, I mean, I roomed with Manny, or not, I roomed with Juan, and I spent a lot of time with Manny and also Sam, and then Jack was there as well.
Mhm.
Um, and then since then I talked to Manny, I would say like quite a bit, and um, I guess I just learned that we're all just you know normal high schoolers that are just trying to do the best we can, and I think we're also all really excited for college, and um, but I guess not anything special. No one's super different. We're all just normal people who are just trying to do the best we can and be the best high school runners we can at the time.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this then. Did you all enjoy hanging out with each other? Did you all enjoy being a part of the Heartland team and representing that region?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, it was definitely nerve wracking. Like I remember like the team meeting at night before the race when we were all new, like we'd never been to NXN before, and so I think hopefully we can like handle the nerves a little bit better this next time. But besides like the meeting and like the serious parts, like we had so much fun together, and just getting to talk. And I think it's going to be, another, really fun weekend when we get to do that again.
And then there's obviously like you throw guys like Sean Freeze into the mix. You throw in Noah Zuber back in there after what he's done in the state of Iowa this year, which is a guy you already saw at the Roy Griak Invitational. Like, what's the biggest thing you've seen from the Heartland region this year, and what can we expect on Sunday from you guys?
I think it's going to be a really deep field. Like obviously, Juan, Manny, and I are probably like the top three favorites, but I'm, open to the idea that other guys might break that up and have a really good breakout race like some of us did last year. I know that, Jaden Merrick, Ethan Zuber, Sean Freeze, they're all like in really good shape. And I think it's really good to see because, I was definitely thinking like, oh, we have three, highly nationally ranked guys that hopefully are all going to go to NXN, represent Heartland well. And we're kind of missing those two. But now, whoever qualifies for Heartland, I feel very confident that they're going to represent very well.
For sure, and obviously you're trying to go after those bragging rights of being that top region team at NXN because the Southwest
Yeah.
likes to run things a little bit, but maybe the Heartland wants to change that this year and be that top region team. Robert, really appreciate your time, man. Wish you nothing but the best on Sunday. Of course, everyone can catch the NXR Heartland region on runnerspace.com. It's Sunday, November 10th. Should be really, I think, yeah, November 10th.
Yep.
I'm doing my math correctly. I think that, let's check here. Yes, November 10th. I knew I was doing my calendar days right. Again, we can tune that into runnerspace.com. Robert, best of luck on Sunday.
Thank you very much.